True freedom, and therefore happiness, lies in the ability to let go, to release the aspects of your life that you consider essential to your happiness. The ones that may bring unhappiness on a beautiful day sit quietly in the forest, surrounded by the serenity of nature and the company of some disciples. A wise man witnessed the approach of a distressed farmer. This man, carrying the weight of despair in his words, shared his anguish. The house that constituted his wealth had run away, and his sesame crop, the hope of his livelihood, had been devastated by insects. The depth of his suffering was such that he pondered the end of his existence. With a heart full of compassion, the wise man calmly replied that they had not seen the cows. After the farmer left, he turned to his disciples, sharing a luminous reflection. True happiness sprouts not from possession, but from the freedom of non-possession. You feel content because you have no cows to lose, he said. The practice of detachment, a central concept in ancient teachings, emerges as a powerful tool for personal growth. See if you are capable of letting go, otherwise, the cycle of suffering will persist. It is time to sit and reflect on life, identifying what imprisons you and what deprives you of the freedom so essential to fully experiencing happiness. Developing the ability to detach is, in essence, embracing freedom. Free yourself from the shackles of concepts, from the preconceived ideas that imprison you more than they liberate. It is a challenging process, yes, but deeply liberating. Ask yourself, am I clinging to something that causes me suffering? Are there ideas or concepts that, instead of elevating me, drag me down? True wisdom lies in the ability to question our own beliefs and feelings, recognizing them as possible sources of anguish. Mindfulness and concentration are valuable allies in this journey of self-knowledge and liberation. They allow us to look beyond the surface, exploring the deep roots of our ideas and feelings, discovering their origin, and ultimately allowing us to release them. Learning to say no to behaviors and thoughts that harm us is an act of self-love. It is not necessary to follow a specific philosophy or religion to understand that detachment from the feelings and behaviors that harm us is essential for our well-being. Detaching is not an easy task, but it is incredibly liberating. Often, the process of detachment happens unconsciously, manifesting as an internal doubt, a questioning of what contributes to our well-being. The key lies in listening to these doubts, these internal questions, and allowing yourself to follow the path that truly promotes happiness and mental and physical health. It is an art, a way of life that requires courage, attention, and the willingness to practice. Authentic happiness, a condition coveted by all, can only be achieved through freedom. To be truly free from concepts, possessions, and limiting ideas, is the fertile soil in which happiness flourishes. In this state of freedom, one discovers that detachment not only liberates but also leads to a deeper understanding of oneself and the world around us. Free yourself from anything that restricts your being, be it anger, anxiety, or any form of material attachment. True freedom is fundamental, and without it, the fullness of happiness remains unattainable. Consider for a moment that your conception of happiness may be the biggest obstacle in the way of achieving it. Often we imagine that certain conditions are indispensable for our contentment. However, upon looking deeper, we may discover that it is precisely these preconceived notions that prevent us from experiencing true joy and cause us suffering. You may be imprisoned by your idea of happiness, following a single path with all your strength, while countless others remain unexplored. For new possibilities to reveal themselves, it is essential to be willing to abandon your opinions and open up to new perspectives. The key to a meaningful and joyful life is to remove all pre-established ideas and concepts, allowing the truth to reveal itself in its purest form. Detaching then becomes not just an act of renunciation, but a true way of life, a path filled with freedom and happiness. It is not an easy process. It requires courage, determination, and above all, the constant practice of being present, of breathing consciously, and of approaching each moment with a smile. Detachment is an art, a practice that, when embraced with strength and determination, frees us from the afflictions that cause suffering. Smile, take a deep breath, and move forward calmly. With each step on the path of detachment, you come closer to true freedom and, consequently, to genuine happiness. I invite you to reflect on your life, to identify your cows, those things to which you cling, which perhaps deprive you of experiencing full freedom and joy. Recognize these attachments for what they truly are: chains that bind you. Learn to release them as the wise man and his disciples did, and discover the lightness and peace that come with true freedom. This path of detachment and freedom is but a deep journey into the heart of who you really are. By practicing detachment, you free yourself from the chains that bind you and also make room for true happiness to flourish in your life. Each moment is a new opportunity to practice detachment, to choose freedom over imprisonment, and to cultivate genuine happiness. This is the invitation for you today. Smile, breathe deeply, and take each step with the awareness that in the freedom of letting go, you find the path to a full and meaningful life. The key lies in understanding that things are impermanent and unreal. Therefore, we should always reflect on the ephemeral nature of all things. We can gauge our spiritual progress by how often we remember that all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Recognizing the impermanence and unreality of everything is wise because it aligns with reality. If it were not true, thinking so would be absurd. Contemplating impermanence is essential, particularly for those on a spiritual path. Life is fluid, akin to a river or a cascade tumbling from a mountain peak. Each moment, water flows downward, nothing remains static, not even briefly. Similarly, our lives gradually decrease with each ticking second, akin to an arrow soaring through the air, hurtling towards its mark. When we start to comprehend the true nature of the world, we might be struck by deep sadness, which naturally propels us toward the next stage of our journey. We come to the rational realization that everything is transient and begin to cultivate detachment. Slowly, we start to relinquish the things we've pursued without sight, liberating ourselves from the ties that bind us. This skill of discernment, often beyond our normal capacity, gradually develops. We begin to let go naturally as our understanding deepens. Whether we're ready or not, we'll eventually have to relinquish everything. With this knowledge, it's logical to start lessening our attachments now. Neglecting the transient nature of existence means we keep holding on to things, which only brings suffering and strips meaning from our lives. Conversely, once we truly grasp that nothing is permanent and all is an illusion, letting go becomes straightforward. It occurs naturally through the simple act of meditating on impermanence. As we realize that the pleasures and luxuries of this world are transient, empty, and futile, our attachment naturally lessens, and we develop a spontaneous appreciation for liberation and enlightenment. We can then embark on the path without turning back. When you deeply and genuinely contemplate impermanence until it touches your heart, you will no longer waste your time. If we seek freedom and awakening, it is not enough to merely discuss impermanence, suffering, love, compassion, or insights about the nature of the mind as abstract concepts. The only way to truly grasp these essential points is through direct experience.